Timing is everything in football. Absolutely crucial. And in the case of Niclas Fullkrug's injury, at a time where Jarrod Bowen might, and I say might, we'll see tonight, might feature again as a striker for England. And at a time when I started to begin to feel that Julen Lopetegui was going to start experimenting with a position, the timing has become crucial and a crucial factor. There's a bit of an update, but let's try and get through the bit where I try and speak medically, because I'm not a doctor, as quickly as possible. It appears that it's Achilles and his tendonitis, rather than the ruptured or the torn Achilles, which is far worse. There'll be people watching this now who have got exactly that injury. You'll know what it's like. Apparently rest, it's about 3 weeks rest is the remedy for this, although it can flare up. Much better than a tear. I had a torn, it was I think it was called the peroneal. It was like an ankle ligament years ago. It took a long, long time, you know. But having said that, I didn't have like the top medical care in the world, which is what footballers get. This is not as bad as that. So I think reading between the lines, he has to rest for about 3 weeks. And then he's not going to come straight back in, is he? He's going to have to train for a week or something like that. I think it's fair to say we don't see Niclas Fullkrug until October. It's my professional medical opinion there. But I don't think that's unreasonable. If what I've read is true, then that's when we see him again. Well, that's enough time. That's enough time. I wouldn't call it a seismic shift, but that's enough time for things to change at West Ham in terms of the striker. I think it was really interesting what was happening anyway, because Fullkrug had not started a game yet for West Ham. Well, he had. Obviously, the Bournemouth game, wasn't it? But he'd not started a league game for West Ham, let's put it that way. Antonio had started all the games. He'd failed to impress. He's not. There were the odd chance here or there, but it would have been hard for anybody to say that Antonio did enough to keep the shirt. But I also think it's probably fair to say that during maybe the game against Bournemouth, possibly substitute appearances, Niclas Fullkrug didn't do enough to win the shirt. Now, I would offer some mitigation for that with Fullkrug, because I think on a couple of occasions he was basically partnered with Souček. They're too similar. It doesn't work. I didn't want to see it again. The old big un and the little un combo. It was the big un and the big un, and it looked clumsy, and it looked. You want someone with a strength, someone to hold up, someone to be able to win headers, and you want somebody to win the ball, and then you want him to be able to give it up to a partner who's a little bit quicker. So I would offer mitigation for that, but I would suggest that neither of those two players have done enough to basically claim the shirt thus far. Also, there's very much a bedding in period, and Fullkrug had spoken about this. Once he gets into the team, and once everybody gets used to how Lopetegui wants to play, then we'll see the best of him. And whilst that was, very much a positive thing to say, it still did give a glimpse into basically, things are not quite ready yet. Well, I'll tell you somebody that is ready, and that's Jarrod Bowen. And I was saying this stuff, as you know, before Fullkrug got injured. Even without the Fullkrug injury, I would have gone into the Fulham game, as I've mentioned before, and played Bowen up front. Now, don't get me wrong, a large part of that, as I know Gio alluded to once earlier, but also on several other occasions as well, is to liberate Mohammed Kudus from the left-hand side. The graveyard shift, as I like to call it, at West Ham. It doesn't matter whether you're Felipe Anderson, Said Benrahma, Maxwell Cornet or Pablo Fornals. That's not a good position at West Ham. And I would maybe suggest that Mohammed Kudus has done better than most to make a good fist of it. And he's shown flashes of brilliance. But I for all the reasons I've explained in multiple other videos, get him off that left-hand side. Get him to somewhere where he can shoot with his absolute Grudel schnitzel. Grudel schnitzel of a left foot. Absolute howitzer. He can really, a Hoofenmeister with that ball. He can really whack it. Let's get him to a position where he can shoot from long range, right? Get him off that left-hand side. Moving Bowen up front allows Kudus to go on the right, cut inside. Whack. You know what I'm saying. But it's also the fact that realistically centre-forward's not working so far. And I understand that give Lopetegui time, okay. And you could even convince me of the argument that given time, Lopetegui will make the centre-forward position work at West Ham. That's absolutely fine. I'm talking about now. And one player that, as I say, that can work within those parameters is Bowen. maybe it's a little bit unfair and it's a little bit early, but I looked at certainly Crystal Palace, Aston Villa and Man City. And I even said it. I said it in one of the reviews. Can't remember which one. I was just sort of looking at it, saying, I wonder if a false nine would suit us a little better for the moment until we can really start to establish his style of play and get the best out of a centre forward. And a false nine is the way to go. Basically, I think with that, the centre forwards struggling a little bit there. So Jarrod Bowen, I'll get Jarrod Bowen in there. Now, a lot of people are making a bit of a fuss about Danny Ings and how Danny Ings could be poised. I say a lot of people, not really West Ham fans, more media people. So this is Danny Ings' time. This is his chance. Of course, Ings went and scored a hat-trick, didn't he, against Dagenham and Redbridge in the behind closed doors game that was meant to be a trial for John Egan to see if he could sign, obviously, free transfer. It would appear, and the update came from ex-West Ham United employee this morning, that it's done. The Egan is not going to happen, apparently. And I think the club have pretty much confirmed that as well. So, yeah, no John Egan to West Ham, which, as you'll know, I think is I think it's good news. I think it's good news for Caelan Casey. I'm not going to go too mad on the whole Casey thing just yet, because all it means at the moment is we're not going to get John Egan. Clearly there was a desire from within the club to get an additional centre-half. And obviously Hummels did appear that he was the main one. He decided he wanted to go elsewhere, which you can understand. He wanted to go to Syria. There was a 2-year contract on offer there, which wasn't on offer at West Ham. And guarantee of first-team football, highly unlikely that he could be guaranteed first-team football at West Ham, Hummels. Which took us to Matip. Matip was one of the choices. Another one without a club, free transfer, which means you can sign them outside of the transfer window. Matip, they were worried about his cruciate knee ligament injury. It's all got a bit medical today, hasn't it? So that was his particular ailment. That's why he didn't get a new contract at Liverpool. I am yet to be convinced that we won't do anything, although it has gone a little bit quiet. The fact that we were going for Egan, who there is nothing about his career which would suggest he is an exceptional player. The fact that we were going for him in the first place, the fact that we went to such lengths to get him and allow him to play in a trial game. Now listen, this trial game might not have been a trial game. It might have just been in place already just to keep the players fit who were still at the training ground and hadn't travelled for international duty, right? So I'm not going to make a big fuss that Dagenham and Redbridge were brought over to Rush Green just for John Egan. No, but the fact that we would go to the lengths of getting him in, get him on a trial, get him to play in a game, at least suggests we're serious about filling that position. So with that in mind, I'm not going to hail Caelan Casey as having been victorious just yet. But if you're a regular watcher of the channel, as you'll know, that's my preferred outcome in all of this. That he is our fourth choice centre back to open a pathway. I think that's a fair and reasonable thing to do, given the lad's talent, given what West Ham. We're the Academy of Football after all. If we can't do that, then what can we do? There you go. I'm just really, really interested to see what happens tonight. Tonight Jarrod Bowen has got a real chance to put pressure on the situation, which is, I'm not going to say a perfect storm, because I don't want to create the impression that I believe Jarrod Bowen is hoping to take advantage of Fullkrug's injury. That sounds a bit mean and a bit crass. I'm not suggesting that. But in terms of a perfect storm with Jarrod Bowen wanting to sort of represent West Ham up front and getting a chance at England, then I think something interesting might be about to occur there. Just all might have all fallen into place at the right time. Anyway, enjoy the game tonight. Hopefully Bowen plays. I'm really looking forward to hopefully watching that, and hopefully Bowen does get on. And that should be really interesting. And keep an eye on it. I didn't mention it. I was watching the England game the other day. We'll talk about it more if it happens again. Watching Harry Maguire the other day, I wasn't sort of filled with confidence that... I did look at him and think, well, hold on a second. He's only here reputationally. He's not started the season better than Max Kilman, so it would be really great, wouldn't it, to have two West Ham players in that England squad. It would be absolutely magnificent. Right, anyway, I'll catch up with you later.